to this before. All right, it says we're live on both channels. Now I can't. Now who knows? It feels very much like Can all over again. And I'm checking other platforms in order to make sure that we are. If I've done this first time, I will be incredibly impressed. Right, it's definitely live on YouTube. I can see that.
Can you hear us, people?
But I can't guarantee it's live on LinkedIn. Is it live on LinkedIn? It's an awful experience of watching us talk about things. It is live on LinkedIn. Okay, fine. Let's share it on LinkedIn. If you are watching this and you've got the unfortunate pleasure of being one of the first people on here watching us share the stream, welcome.
Yeah. What a crazy couple of weeks it's been, eh?
Crazy couple of weeks. We've got a few things to talk about. I've tried to make a list in the hour that you gave me to put this show together of things I want to talk about. I think what I really want to talk about first and foremost is what does your daily routine look like at the moment? Because I feel like that is the thing that everybody's trying to work out, because it's just completely different to what it normally is.
Yeah, it's busy, to be honest, is what I've been surprised at. I spent a lot of time on Hangouts. Morning, I'll get up, I'll be with the kids, we'll hang out in the morning. They might do an exercise class, or they've been doing the Joe Wicks thing and stuff.
Are you doing the Joe Wicks thing?
I'm not, no.
Are the kids doing the Joe Wicks thing?
Yeah, they are, yeah. They love it.
I think it's been fantastic.
Oh, it's great. He did over 1 million live views yesterday. It's absolutely...
Yeah, and about 2.8 million total. And then today he did 970 or 980. So the consistency's there. But yeah, it's absolutely nuts. I mean, I can't believe someone at like Channel 4, even BBC, are not trying to get him on board just to boost ratings.
Yeah, he doesn't need it, does he? It's probably easier for people to watch it on their phones, their iPads and stuff. So, why? I don't know. Why would he?
Well, I'm literally being told from behind the screen right now that Frankie and is he doing it? Okay, ITV are currently broadcasting it.
Are they really right now?
Okay, we have some messages in the chat. This is great. I'm learning how to use this live stream functionality. But I'm going to be able to pop things on the screen live from YouTube. Hi, John. How are you? Hey, Finn. Like, we had some fans of the vlog, some constant fans of the vlog, which we appreciate massively.
Great. Diana. Hi, Adina.
Yeah. So there's some people watching on YouTube for sure. I don't know how many people are watching on LinkedIn. But yeah, like, let's go back to the daily routine. So it starts off pretty busy, lots of calls. I mean, I feel like our day starts probably slightly later than it has previously, because we're kind of letting our teams get on with things between sort of 9 and 10 o'clock, because there's so many catch-up calls that are required in order to make sure that people are prioritizing for the day. And then our day kind of kicks in at sort of 10:30, once everyone else has got their admin out of the way.
Yeah, I'm sort of 9 till 9 really now. And I'd say the morning is sort of catch up, see what's going on, have a few client calls, things like that. Then from lunchtime, obviously Nick's waking up in New York, and the three of us are getting into stuff. And then it's press conference time from like 4 or 5 o'clock, isn't it? So, I've watched every press conference. We'll continue to do, I'm sure, I think it was 25 million of us in the UK watched the Boris one last night, which is nuts.
It's especially nuts considering how little like actual awareness it is as to what time he's going to be on, other than the fact that he's kind of created this drumbeat of the 5 o'clock, 5:15 news conference. But then last night, obviously, that broke the mold, 8:30 prime time. But I saw that it was going to change based on Twitter. I'm following a political correspondent on Twitter, so like it is amazing about how many people are tuned into this. Like, it really has brought a lot of people together in that sense.
I'm trying to watch less of it, to be honest now, like a little bit less of the news. I'm trying, I'm failing obviously, but just before I went to bed last night, probably for about 11:30 till 12:30 or something, I was watching Trump live. And for those that haven't seen it yet, it was quite a weird one. They seem to have sort of changed their strategy a little bit. Felt a little bit like where the UK was 2 weeks ago, which was sort of, well, some people are going to die, but it's going to be okay. Let's get on with it. Which is a
UK in deaths. They're at 500 plus now.
Huh?
They're at 500 plus deaths now in the US, and New York seems to be a real.
They've got real epicenters. I think New York's seems to be in quite a bad way, and there are other places, throughout the south and central of the country. I think haven't got any, or very few. So, but it will go. It will go everywhere. So, but it's interesting. I'm there's a balance between trying to be as up to date as possible, but not just focus on the news, if that makes sense. It's also very few people actually understand what's going on, right?
That is the weird thing, right? It doesn't matter who you talk to, everybody's in the same boat, and some people even feel less informed than us just because we're so tuned into it because of the relevancy to the business.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a team of 5 or 6 now, 6 of us that are, very focused on the virus and have a war room dedicated to that and all that sort of stuff. And we're just normal people, right, looking at the same information as everyone else is, and we're watching these conferences, and then the next day we're hearing from our lawyers or our accountants, and like they haven't got any idea, absolutely none. It doesn't make, you call the bank, they haven't got any idea either. They haven't heard anything about it. So even though there's a lot of sort of comfort and good decisions being made by the Chancellor, still so little understanding in the market about how to actually go and get it, what it actually means, whether you have to personally guarantee it or not, whether, all these technical things. Someone saying, I'll give you a loan. Okay, well, on what basis, right? You give you a loan, and if you can't pay it back, you can't pay it back, or give you a loan, if you can't pay it back, we're going to take everything you own. Because that's the thing. You're asking business owners who are already in an uncertain time to now go and increase their risk, which is crazy. There's
one question here which is very relevant to that point. And I'm also, I know for the viewers who are watching along, and thank you very much for joining us. This is going to be a show every single day at midday until 1 p.m. to hopefully get you through your lunchtime session whilst no one else is talking to you because you're in self-isolation. But we do have a question here on YouTube from Miles Bowman. Do you have any advice for small agencies during this tough time? That's a very, very relevant one to this. I think for us, it's about building that team who are constantly looking about, whether that's one person or a team like we've got of 5 or 6 who are constantly looking at the updates and what it means and things that it changes around this whole situation.
The biggest thing I would say is try and remove some of the uncertainty. And you can't, obviously it's in some ways impossible to do that because no one knows what's going to happen. So if you don't know what's going to happen, assume a scenario that's really bad and then work backwards from there. And then, so that scenario, I mean, I see people planning for this going on for 3 months, and I think they're insane. I've got no idea how long it's going to go on for, but we're planning to be like this forever. That's the reality. We're not assuming we're going to come out of this. We're not assuming, like, we're planning that we might work from home for the next 2 years. And if we work from home for the next 2 years, we'll be the best work from home agency on the planet, rather than an agency that was great and it's just sort of getting by because we're working from home. I think that is my biggest bit of advice, would be, do not look at this as, oh, we've just got to get through this period. You need to be doing better than that. You need to be taking advantage of this period in some way, shape or form, or you'll never get out of it, because it does not look like this is going to be 8-10 weeks. It looks like this will be 8-10 months. And so no business can survive that amount of time if they're waiting for something to happen. They need to find a way to make themselves profitable during that period. What does that look like? It depends where you are in the world as to what the government sort of are helping you with. They're obviously going to be helping with furloughed workers and things like that. But again, that can't be the solution. That can be the solution to dropping your short-term fixed costs a little bit. But you're going to have to find a way in 3 or 4 months to start doing some business again. Otherwise,
Yeah, it's about adapting and changing as quickly as you possibly can. This is the time. I mean, we've talked about it for years, right? We've kind of wished for a financial crash for a long time. Now, we haven't wanted it in this situation with obviously all the health implications that go with it, but the financial aspect or the economic aspect of it has always been good for a disruptive agency like us. We're willing to be nimble and agile in how we actually change our business and how quickly we can do that. And also, we're very, very fortunate that we're in a digital world where actually that's very easy to do. And our business, our agency itself, working from home isn't a disaster. And the service is, we're very lucky in that way. And there's a lot of people who aren't in that situation, and I feel incredibly sympathetic to them.
I agree. There's a lot of people asking about self-employed. I've got a huge amount of empathy for everyone that's self-employed. Do you think self-employed people should be allowed to have more money? There's a few others asking, do you think 80% pay for employed folk, but nothing is yet for self-employed? I think that's the sort of last major bit from an economic point of view that they need to be doing. I think it is just a matter of time. I've got no doubt this week that they're going to bring in protections for the self-employed. What they've done in other places, I think particularly in Scandinavia, is they've said that they'll pay 80% of whatever you've averaged as an income over the last 3 years. So if you've averaged, 30, 40, 50,000, over the last 3 years, they'll pay you 80% of 40,000, which I think is a very good way of doing it. I think it brings people in line, with employed, essentially. The people that are going to fall through the gaps are people that are in transition periods, people that have just set something up or set something up 3 months ago, haven't been able to make the money yet, and there's going to be a whole load of those people that even then slip through those cracks. So, I do think that the measures that virtually every government around the world are putting in place now are, staggering, absolutely staggering. Whether they're, in all of our interests long term, I don't know, but they, I think they're needed in the short term. So it almost doesn't matter at this point. And we've got to keep people, safe and alive. So I think everybody should get the same form of benefits on that, whether you're self-employed or employed. I think if it's 80% of what your normal income is, I think that's what should happen.
Okay, I'm going to bring in, for people that are watching who normally watch the vlogs or any other content we do, I'm bringing in a man who is lost at home, having not been able to do anything, annoy anyone around the office, and that's Matt Wyatt. I'm going to try my best as a producer here to bring him in. Here we go, adding Matt Wyatt in, and we're going to sort of chat. Well, there we go, that's better.
What do you think of the dungarees?
Yeah, what on earth are you wearing?
You caught me. I was about to paint an egg cup.
Of course you were.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking of, I've got to fill my time. I was thinking of painting some goat employees on the inside.
Right, you've got 6 to choose. Who are you choosing?
I thought I'd go with the 3 co-founders. So yourself, Arron, and Nick, and then I've got 3 to probably make an omelette or something.
Okay, nice.
So
how you find?
Yeah, your job's definitely changed then. After I'm still doing a lot of the same things I was doing before. Your job of going around irritating people is obviously more difficult now. How are you finding it?
I'm not enjoying it, to be honest. I got a huge sense of mental well-being from running around after people in the office, being told to get out of meeting rooms. I can't do that anymore. You'd think I'd be delighted, but I'm not.
Have you got flatmates coming in asking you to leave the room every now and then just to sort of get a bit of normality back? Or
they've actually been pretty good, but we're all working downstairs in the living room, so there is a sense that I'm annoying people still, which I think I kind of need. But they also don't really mind the filming, and I think I need people to sort of see me as a nuisance and want me to go away. So I haven't got that. So I've got to turn the camera on myself with little things like this. And it's just not the same, really. Oh, I've gone full screen.
I know. I'm playing around with things, if I'm honest, Matt, whilst I play around. But Matt, there's a comment in from YouTube which says Matt is very lost. You can see it in his face.
I'm wearing dungarees and I'm about to paint some eggs. Of course I'm not. I've got no idea what I'm doing, to be honest. But I've seen a lot of good vlogs out there. Casey Neistat's put one out. Logan Paul's vlogs are just hilarious at the moment. He's doing so well with the situation, but I suppose he's got loads of young people around him as well. So he's not running a business.
That's a good point, Arron. There's an opportunity here, and it's one of the reasons that we're doing this live stream in itself is there is a huge opportunity to actually create more content, and we're seeing some of the creators see that opportunity, but a lot of them haven't taken advantage of it yet. And I do believe that this is the time, if any time, to double down. We might have an unprecedented 9 months of people wanting to consume an unbelievable amount of content, and 100%. I don't feel that.
No, I agree. This should be the perfect time to be a YouTuber or a creator. It's, you know, there's very little content going to be created across the world. You know, there's not going to be new TV shows. There'll be some that have been made over the last 6 months that are in in editing or get released. But if this goes on for a year and a half, like, everything will get released in the next 3 months, and then there'll be nothing else coming out. There'll be no new TV shows. There'll be no new Emmerdales, no new EastEnders, no new any of these things. So, you know, couple that with people having more time than ever before, because we're not moving around, we're not traveling, we're all at home. So we've got our tech all around us and open, our phones, our laptops, everything else. So you've got a time when consumption on social and TV will be higher than at any time in human history, but the supply of content is probably going to be hit very, very hard, particularly, you know, the sort of TV, more series content, which is going to be smashed. So, you know, there's going to be a real supply and demand issue with content. And, you know, anyone that is putting out niche content has a chance, because there are audience that will grab onto that. I'd expect virtually every YouTuber to see a 50, 100% increase in views. I think Netflix will do incredibly well, as will Amazon Prime and lots of others of these. Tom Freeman, no new Emmerdale. I'm sorry, I know you're devastated. But you know, that's the reality, right? So think about that. You've got millions of people that for the last 30, 40 years have watched the same TV show at the same time on the same channel every night. And now all of those people have got a gap in their lives that can be filled by something else. So now I'm not saying that the people that watch Emmerdale are going to go and watch KSI. They're obviously not. But, you know, there's someone needs to create content for that Emmerdale audience in a different format. And that'll be different.
So Matt, what are you going to be creating in this time of isolation? You obviously did last week. We released Chatterbox Chat Roulette Edition.
I absolutely loved making that, to be honest. Well, for anyone that's been on Chat Roulette, they know the ratio of phalluses to normal people is quite high. But you wade through that, and then you actually, once you kind of get a normal person with something interesting to say, it's quite rewarding. So I might be going on a few more video apps. I know there are a few out there that aren't so skanky. But I think it's just, you know, there's a massive space for creating fun, humorous content at the moment. I don't really want to be brought down by, well, that being said, there are some doctors in the NHS doing some daily vlogs, which are really interesting. And obviously it's important to be informed from the people fighting this on the front line. But I'm trying to keep my own spirits up and like stay sane. And that is, you know, I'm mainly doing that through just trying to entertain myself and do weird stuff. But we are locked in quite a small house. But then again, everyone has the exact same situation. So it's who can be the most creative within their own homes. And there will be a million ways to put out interesting content. So if I'm not putting out interesting stuff, then that's my failure, because it's, you know, we go to the office every day and make interesting stuff. It's no different to me being here.
This is what Finn says. Why don't you learn a new skill or something?
Oh,
something in the pipeline there?
Finn, I'm currently learning magic. I'm learning to play High Hopes on the guitar. I'm painting bloody Michelangelo on an egg box. I'm working at, you know, I'm going to have a 12-pack by the end of this. It's like prison workout style.
God, I'm surprised you weren't deemed as a key worker doing all that. Jesus.
I know. And I'm about to make my own fresh pasta later today.
Well, there you go.
Yes, we're thinking about doing a series where Matt learns how to do things. So a pretty relevant comment here from Finn. We're thinking about forcing Matt to learn new skills and do things whilst people are at home. So Matt does arts and crafts. Matt learns how to do 5-minute meals. All these different things. As you know, I'm sure people love to see what that is. Matt, I'm going to let you get back to painting those egg boxes.
Thank you.
All
right.
I know it's a very, but I really appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you, guys.
I look forward to it very much.
Speak to you in a few days.
Bye. Right. I mean, I'm doing better than I thought. This software is fantastic. People are looking to live stream in this time of desperate content need. We're using StreamYard. StreamYard.com. It's very, very good. Very, very impressed. And if you're watching this and you're not with us on LinkedIn, please do that right now. What have I got here? We've got
more. I think there's a few
things. Huh?
Get into some more of the questions.
Yeah. So this question comes with another one, which is which brands have you seen doing great things in the past 1 or 2 weeks in terms of response actions around the virus situation, which nicely falls into this one as well, which is what are the thoughts on Sports Direct doing the opposite of that, and then doing a U-turn. So let's talk about brands doing good things.
Okay. I think there are quite a lot of brands doing good things, to be honest. I think a lot of them have already been widely shared. The Pret's of this world, and then Itsu congratulating Pret and offering the same offer rather than just stealing it. I thought that was very good. I think what Brewdog have done in the UK is great. To obviously a beer producer who are now making hand wash. LMBH doing the same thing in France on a huge scale. I saw 3M. I believe has donated 500,000 masks to New York. So you're seeing a lot of brands put people before profit here, which I think is really important. We haven't had many come to us. In fact, I don't think we've had any come to us sort of with a short-term profit opportunity in mind. Even if they could, they fully accept that that's not the right thing to do right now, and they'd give it away for free, basically. So it's
Real Manager, one of our clients, gave their game away for free, and then have extended that yesterday for a further week, which is great, and allowed people to keep themselves entertained during the off period, which is fantastic. And they saw a huge uptake. They saw over 100,000 new users download the game in a 24-hour window whilst it was offered for free, which shows the desire for people to be entertained with something.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a period that people as well as brands, but people are going to get judged, and how you act in the next year may stay with you for the next 50, 60. And how people acted in the First World War stayed with them for the rest of their lives. And I think it's a very similar situation. And so the likes of Richard Branson and Philip Green and Mike Ashley, these people are not putting the national interest first. They're putting their own interests first. And I think as first and foremost, as consumers, we should not forget that. And we should act with our wallets. But I wouldn't want to be those guys long term. I think if Philip Green or Richard Branson walks down the street in 2 years' time, people are going to pelt tomatoes at him. I think that is the state of play. You're a multi-billionaire not paying 30 million quid in staff salaries. That's the wrong thing to do right now. If you can't afford to pay those staff salaries, everybody understands that. But if you can, pay it. Do the right thing. And they're looking at short-term profit, and it's stupid because the kickback from, I think, the general consumer base is going to be horrendous. I'm not going to fly. I'm going to go and see which airlines paid all their staff, and I will exclusively fly with them. And anyone that didn't, I'm not going to.
I think this question as well, which is have you seen a drop-off in clients currently, or actually a ramp? Are brands looking to do different things? And what pushing out?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And the reality is we've had delays. 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, I was expecting a few cancellations and an awful lot of delays. And it hasn't been as as bad as we thought. The vast majority of our clients are not moving anything and are carrying on. A huge chunk of them are maybe 30% are looking to delay things. Certainly anything that's event based, sport based, things like that are getting delayed. But in addition to that, we've had a load of clients come to us that weren't talking to us a week ago, that realized that fuck, the world has changed. And that I've been telling brands for the last 5 years, you've got to go digital, you've got to go social, it's the only way to do it. It is literally now the only way to do it. So I have no doubt that our market share is going to go up. Even if ad spend globally goes down by 90%, brands will be spending more on social influencers over the next year than they did last year, 100%. It's the only way to produce content is going to be people at home, situations like this. So, I think certainly it will net benefit us. But this amount of uncertainty is never good. We're suffering like everybody else is suffering. I think in the short, medium, in the sort of medium to long term, we've got a better way out of this than a lot of others. But I've got brands that are I'm expecting for them to pay us, several £million next month, and some of them might not. That is the reality. So I feel hugely sorry for events companies. Anybody that's making a living around that is I'm just not sure what they're going to do. Well, actually, I do know they're going to have to go to virtual events, but it's a different skill set. I don't know how easy they'll be able to do it. I think this is going to fast forward the world, and I think there are going to be lots of positives that come out of this. I think tech is going to get invented in the next 3 months that will really push us forward at a faster rate than we would have done. I think the world will digitalize at a rate that was unimaginable 6 months ago. I think human habits are going to change. In the last year, the amount of bloody flights that I've done for 1 hour meetings to random places that took me like 3 days to do it, that like I'm just not going to do anymore. Even when we come out of this, I'm just not fucking doing it. We'll jump on a hangout or fuck off, but I'm not going to travel 3 days for an hour meeting, whereas I have done previously.
Yeah, so in that aspect, like this is going to completely change how people look at what is required for meetings, look at what is required for travel. And also, it's going to show people that things can be incredibly productive from home. I think maybe even we will have to have a look at what working from home policies, along with the rest of the country and the rest of the world, about what that looks like, and actually how do people psychologically work from home in different ways. Because I was talking to the guys yesterday about the fact that because everybody's in the same boat, we're kind of forced to work hard and be productive whilst working from home. But as soon as this comes back into the more normal world, when you bring in a policy where maybe you have a 1 day a week work from home, or you can work from home when you want, then actually you can pick and choose a bit more, and you can potentially be less productive because not everyone's in the same position, and you can't get called out.
I agree. I honestly don't think that we will go back to the world that we all knew. I'm not saying that it's going to be like this forever. Of course, it's not going to be like this forever. Of course, we will come out of this as humanity. But I think, things will be 30, 40% different than they were before. And that means the world's completely different. And I think we'll end up with a hybrid of sort of how it is during lockdown and how it used to be. But it will never be exactly like it used to be. And that's the biggest thing that scares me about other people's businesses, people that I'm trying to help or mentor, is when people say, "Oh, we've just got to get through this," and like when we come out the other end, it'll be okay. And that for me is the worst strategy you could have at this point in time. You've got to change. You've got to pivot right now to make sure that your business works during a lockdown period. Obviously there are exceptions to that, but they're very rare. Even for restaurants and things. I mean, if your business has been shut by the government, then that is obviously a different thing. But a huge amount haven't been outside of the service industry and they're working from home. if you're a law firm thinking, oh, it's going to be hard for 3 or 4 months, then actually it'll be hard for a year. You need to be the law firm that's really good at operating, working from home, and that's really how people are going to be judged. There's a load of great agencies, but which ones are good at working from home? That's the new dynamic that people need to get on board with. And the longer people, try and sort of hold off for it to go back to how it was, the worse things are going to get for them, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And let's talk about the people that are kind of making these decisions. We've across the world as well, rather than just the UK. So we've obviously got political leaders in Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. You've got Macron in France. Everyone's making lots of decisions quite independently. What do we think about the fact that it is being dealt with on such an independent level rather than just a global level? Because this is a global issue, right? And it's allowed the UK to lag behind. We're seeing already from the US being kind of forcing to be lag behind. It's being led by politics at a time where politics isn't necessarily the right thing to be being leveraged.
Yeah, it's. I think there are advantages and disadvantages. I'm fairly against any form of one world government, one world system. I do not believe that is the way humans should govern themselves. I think we should be in smaller groups, if anything. So I'm fairly against any form of sort of centralized global control. There's certainly an argument that people need to work better together and that those governments should lock down together. But this is a problem that nobody has the answer to. So there's also an argument that if you don't have the answer to it, better that 100 people try and figure it out, and maybe one of them figures it out, and then that one country, let's say Albania figures it out, maybe everyone else can copy them. Whereas if we all do the same thing and it's wrong, we're all fucked. So, people doing different things actually might mean that, if they all try and do different vaccines, you might find one of them does work, 10 of them don't. And if you just stop the first one that was created. So it's a very difficult thing. I think what I think it's difficult to accuse the governments of in general around the world is a lack of action. I think, certainly there's an argument we should have locked down earlier. I look at what people were doing in the UK this weekend and think, these people are morons, literally morons. I would have, I'd be happy to have really extreme rules in place now because, if you're that selfish or that stupid, then I don't care. But unfortunately, that's where we're going to go to, right? We're going to go to a situation where, we're going to have to legally lock people down because they're not listening. And that, I think, is more of a problem than the governments working to each other. Can you practically lock down 7 or 8 billion people? I don't know. And if you can, is that the right thing to do? Is that the other ethical conversation here is, what if this is 10 years? Is it still worth it? What if it's 100? What if my children never get out of this? You know what I mean? At some point, people will look back and think, "Oh, we should never have locked down in the first place." So, I have no idea what the right thing to do is. I certainly can't advise people on the macro, sort of health side of it. I've got no idea. I'm just going to follow the instructions that, the governments give us, and I'd advise people to do that. But, I'm as John's saying, it's like A/B testing approach to fixing things. I completely agree. That's how I see it. But if you've got a problem, you want as many different, things to try and solve that problem. If you've got 100 people, split them up, let 100 of them independently go and try and solve the problem. You've got a much bigger chance than 2 teams of 50 or 1 team of 100 trying to do it. Because ultimately one person will lead that, so you'll end up with one thought process anyway. And if we had a global policy, there'd still be one human being that was setting that policy. Even if they were listening to everyone else, it would still be them making an ultimate decision. So, I'm a big believer in human ingenuity and in humans figuring out problems. I always believe that humans will find a way to solve these problems, and I'm sure that that people are going to. I've got no idea what that solution is going to look like. It might be a vaccine, it might not. But we will figure it out one way or another.
Everybody's obviously got different lockdown situations. They're finding themselves sat in different places around the house. I'm sat on my dining table with this setup, trying to broadcast around the world. You're sat in the lounge as well. And we're about to bring in Felix in our team, who looks like, he looks like he's out sunbathing in Marbella, but I think he's out in the family house. Hold on, adding him into the stream here. Here he is, look!
Hello.
Oh, where on earth are you? This is absolutely lovely.
I'm sitting in my garden. It's gorgeous.
Lovely.
Yeah, I've just been doing a call with a vintage fashion brand who inquired about driving more traffic to their website. They've seen a massive upsurge in sales recently.
Interesting. During this lockdown period.
Yeah, during the last couple of weeks. Well, they have a wholesale part of their business as well, and they've had lots of e-commerce platforms, fashion, asking for more vintage stock.
There you go.
Why do you think that is? Because lots of people are obviously inside, not socializing and not having to set trends or seen as trendy. Why do you think that is or why are they saying that they think that is?
They think it's because, well, obviously just generally more time, people spending more time on social and on the internet. And also, you've got a lot of Instagram influencers who post about vintage clothes. But also, I guess this whole emphasis on fast fashion damaging the climate. So there's obviously a bigger market for vintage pre-owned clothes, and just general attitudes of consumers and people who use online shopping. Obviously, the majority of them are in their kind of 16 to 35 bracket. So very much kind of concerned with the environment and reducing the impact of fast fashion.
Question from Connor Crosby, whilst you're here, Felix. How are things, lads? Anyone gone crazy yet? How are you finding? You've gone back to your family home, right?
I actually really am quite enjoying the peace of being in the country. I'm very lucky that my parents live outside of London. So, no, I've not gone crazy. I'm doing exercise. I'm trying to keep my daily routine as I would in London. And yeah, trying to make the most of this sun. And I mean, when can you work outside in a garden? Not often.
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice. I mean, it is a shame in the same way that the nicest time of the year, or at the beginning of the nicest time of the year, we're all stuck inside and limited to one exercise 20 minutes each a day. But you seem to have got it sussed.
Well, we're in the middle of nowhere, literally in the middle of nowhere. So I think I'm allowed.
Okay, nice. And what's the plan for the rest of the day?
What was that? Sorry.
What's the plan for the rest of the day?
Rest of the day, I am. What am I doing? I'm doing.
How's your day?
Sorry.
How's your day changed?
My day is actually not wildly dissimilar to what it was before. Obviously, there's less face-to-face, but I mean, the key people who I need to speak to in the business respond within 30 seconds of me messaging them, unless they're on a call. It's not wildly different, to be honest. I think for sales in particular, or business development, it's given me an opportunity to get more organised, make sure that I'm on top of everything, and do more outreach. Obviously, it's difficult to get responses from people at the moment, but there's so much opportunity in this market. Not only, obviously, people don't want to be seen to be profiteering from this, but actually, it's a really good opportunity, I think, to build your brand and come up with some cool ideas as to how you might approach the market differently. I mean, we've seen all these massive companies carrying out corporate social responsibility, but as small companies, like I've got a mate who runs a business selling vitamins, and he reckons that the last 4 weeks has propelled them forward to where they're projecting to be in 3 years, just from doing some cool online messaging and just getting lucky. Like it's a crowded market, and they just managed to kind of be right place at the right time. And there's no reason why thousands, hundreds of thousands of other brands can't do that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to spark a lot of opportunity. I mean, I looked at a list that someone published yesterday with the number of companies that were started between 2008 and 2009, just after the crash. It's like,
yeah, I was reading that. Yeah.
So many huge billion-dollar unicorns were born out of that crash. So I think we're going to see some very
this is going to be even more so, because like that was just a crash. This is like, people still did the same things that they did the day after the crash that they did the day before the crash. They just had a bit less money. Whereas now it's completely different. Like people need to build new technology that actually makes all of this work, right? So I think we're going to see things get invented, particularly around tech and communication. Like, it would not surprise me if we actually see someone create proper holograms in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Like, video, if there was ever a time to have video calls as holograms, it's right now, isn't it? So,
100%.
I am sure people are looking at it, and like, there's going to be stuff that we use for the rest of our lives that gets credit because of this. I think attitudes as well. I think there's going to be a huge. Obviously, it's been teetering on that whole. People finally really getting involved with kind of anti-climate change, anti-plastic, anti-meat, and I think this is just going to completely light a fire under that, and it's going to absolutely explode. And the reach, I mean, I've been trying to reach out to vegan brands. We work with quite a lot of them already. Plant-based meat, snacks, home delivery, wonky fruit, all that kind of stuff. But I think they're seeing a huge surge now. But in order to kind of continue on that vein and keep that kind of level of service is where we could really come into it, in terms of helping people to maintain that brand loyalty and show that they're really contributing for the greater good.
Question from Finn: have you seen an increase or decrease in productivity throughout the lockdown, Felix? Do you feel like you're increasing your productivity? I
think that sometimes I feel like, am I being as productive as I am in the office? But because sometimes I'll find myself, making my third cup of tea of the afternoon or something. But then actually, I would do that in the office and probably get distracted talking to people along the way. So I personally feel that when I'm good at operating without outside distractions. So when I'm on my own, head down, I think I've been more productive. And also, people are so responsive. Like, I've been so impressed with how in the office we make an effort, obviously, not to send too many emails and stuff, because it slows down productivity. But because everyone knows that is the only way that we're communicating, I'm finding people are responding a lot quicker, answering the phone straight away, because everyone knows we need to keep lines of communication as open as possible. So I would say increase.
Yeah, I think it helps that, I agree. I think I've increased my production. I think it's massively helped by the fact that everybody's at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like normal working from home, because it's not like someone's, I'm having my hair cut, or I'm here, or I'm going to the shop. Like, you're not. You're going to be, and if someone says, sorry, I'm busy more than once in a day, now you could go, well, you're not allowed to leave the house. So what are you doing? So I think the fact that everybody is sort of tethered to their house means that actually we're all much more productive in what we're doing. I live an hour and 15 minutes away from the office, so I have saved an absolute minimum of 2.5 hours a day on my commute, which is hugely valuable. And I'm just working through it. I find myself, still sat on the same hangout I've been on since 3 o'clock, talking to people at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and it's like, oh, I've sort of forgotten what time it is. Let's end it there, sort of thing.
Hold on, I'm going to bring Sam Fowler in, who looks like he's also in a garden.
Sam Fowler.
Now I thought I'd join. He looked like he was having sun in himself, so I thought I would as well. Why not?
That beard is looking bushy as well.
It brings a glisten to the beard that's going on at the moment, which gets thicker every day.
I can't wait to see how long that is when this is all over.
Well, that's the plan. I'm thinking I'm just going to go full Grizzly Adams and just wait until I finally re-enter the world properly and just see what we look like. I think a lot of people are doing that. I'm hearing a lot of people that are either going to use this time to get fit or to get fat, and I'm using the time to grow this out to a full length, I think.
Sounds as good as anything.
Lovely.
So there's another question. There's a question from Connor. Harry, if you can grab that. I think this is good for Sam. So, what's the dullest thing you've done so far to keep points? He organised his wardrobe yesterday. So
yeah. I mean, I've for internal calls, as you loyal viewers would have watched the vlog, I did dress up for an internal call the other day in a onesie that I haven't put on for about 3 years, just to spice it up a bit, because I think that the main thing for me that I've just been lacking is that social interaction. I unfortunately am that kid that was in school that was just constantly going for the joke. I needed the joke, I needed the laugh, and that on a daily basis has now been taken away from me. So I've been very much working towards how can I sort of keep my personality and sanity, I guess, on the day to day.
Have you been doing hangouts with friends and stuff as well as you know, with obviously other goats?
Well, God's honest truth, I think that the main thing, and I've been talking about it to a lot of people, has been the increase in the people that I'm talking to via gaming. You know, like I've been talking to a lot of people through the chat, through PlayStation Network, and even online as well. So I've been talking to a lot of people through that. Like I've been organising chats with my friends, and then Skype as well. Like one of my friends is putting together like a pub quiz type style Skype for this Thursday, so we're doing that. I know that we're doing something internally on Friday as well. So it's more just been trying to keep the interaction up with them. And gaming seems to be something that is absolutely storming it at the moment with recent releases as well. So it couldn't be a better time for them, sort of thing. It sounds awful to say that, but it's God's honest truth that people have time on their hands now to play, you know, video games of an evening and at a lunch. It's, you know, I'll drop off for an hour at lunch, and then it's like, oh well, I can have everything's set up for me. I can have a game.
Yeah, no,
Lovely. Felix, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna bring in Mary. Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it all the way from what looks like Australia, but it's Sussex. Appreciate it. Bringing Mary in. Where are you? You inside, outside, inside? Hello.
Inside, yeah. Hi.
Hi, Mary.
How are things?
Going okay, I guess.
So back home, haven't you?
Back home, yeah, back in Yorkshire.
Okay, nice. Go on, Arron.
Well, no, I was actually gonna say, whereabouts are you? But you've got there. What's going?
With Connor's question, which is, what is the dullest thing that you've done so far to keep you entertained? Because I know you were doing the workouts in the morning, so that's not so dull.
Mm-hmm. I started looking through all like my childhood stuff that I still have in my bedroom at my parents' house, and just sort of reminiscing through all that. That's been quite nice, actually.
Yeah, that's quite good. That's a very family-oriented thing to do.
Actually,
yeah.
I've had a brainwave as well about something that I started on the weekend. I've started converting my home family VHSs onto USB, which is something I've been putting off for years to do for my mum, and I finally started doing it. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than in this time of crisis than grabbing the VHS player from downstairs that you bought from a charity shop to try and convert these things over. It's been entertaining watching things rewind and forward one and thinking that was only about 20 years ago, not even that. So yeah, it's been a evolution of technology in my life at the moment.
And before I let you get on, Sam, Warzone is getting people through quite a lot. There's a few comments here already about people playing Warzone. Is it something that's getting you through?
It's getting me very much through my life. And I think that, as I was talking about communities of speaking to people, you know, within 10 days, they had 30 million people that were playing it and have downloaded that game. It's incredible. And I think that it sounds awful to say this, but timing wise, to launch a game of that sort of size and scale and to have that brand launch something within this time period is huge. And it's not, you know, unexpected that it's had the response that it's had. So from a, you know, perspective of marketing, awful to say, but they couldn't have worked out a better situation where everyone's at home and everyone has time to play to launch a game. So yeah, very much getting me through though. It's fantastic. It's great.
Disney Plus out today as well. Have you?
Already subscribed. Already on it. Already watching it. I'm gutted. They've only given me 2 episodes of the new Star Wars series, but I intend to keep that going over the next couple of weeks anyway. So for sure.
Well, I'm gonna let you get back to your Disney Plus subscription, your Warzone, and I'm gonna bring Eliza in as well alongside Mary. I'm gonna see you later. Thank you very much, Sam. Eliza, welcome. Thank you very much for jumping on. You're home alone, aren't you?
I'm home alone, so I'm going to be very close to talking to my lamp soon, for sure.
Oh wow! Okay, so that's like Mary. Were you in that same situation? Is that why you moved home?
Yeah, I would have been by myself, and I would have already been talking to my lamp and laughing at jokes my plants told by this point.
So you're
Right.
at your family house up in Yorkshire. So Eliza, whereabouts are you? You're at your flat in London?
I'm Canary Wharf at the moment.
Okay, so when was the last time you saw a person in real life?
Oh, in real life? I mean, out from my window 10 minutes ago, but like to talk to somebody in real life, I don't know. Maybe like a day ago.
Maybe we need to send a virtual Matt Wyatt round there, help keep you entertained.
Yeah, I do.
What are your? Let's start with you, Mary. What's your day look like now versus what it looked like when you were in the office?
Apart from the commute, I've kept it really similar, just because I do like routine. So I still sort of get up at pretty much the same time. I've cut out like the morning workouts I usually do. So I have a lie-in. I get up at 6. I usually get up at like 5. Yeah, so it looks about the same. Apart from when it gets to about like 6, half 6 at night, you're in the same place. So it's the distinction between working and sort of entertainment that's the struggle.
And how are you trying, like, how are you sort of doing that in your own mind? Is there a time when you're shutting your laptop, you're going, right, that's like, I'm just not going to keep looking at this, because otherwise you can end up doing 16, 18-hour days here, just never actually getting off your laptop, because it's where we do entertainment and our work, right? It's on the same thing. So how are you drawing that line?
Well, I sort of try and shut the laptop, and then I think of something else to do, so I reopen it, and I have to keep stopping myself from finding something to do. So even if it's just getting up and going to talk to my sister or going to annoy my mother's cats, just something that's a clear distinction. But I guess it doesn't stop, because even when I'm on social media, I'm flicking through and looking at, well, for me, I look at like the ads and see who's taken the opportunity to find cheap ad placements in this time. So it never stops.
Yeah, no, I bet. Eliza,
and with you, how's that changed? Obviously, you're on your own, so you're in a job where you talk to a lot of people in the office. What does that look like now? You're just doing everything through Hangouts.
Yeah, just talking through Hangouts, WhatsApp. Like in terms of like connecting with people from like back home as well. Like I've only recently started using this. I don't know if you guys have heard about this app called House Party. So you like video call people and play games with people. So like that's also keeping me quite sane at the moment. So just like I think it's a great time just to like be experimenting and looking at apps and just finding stuff to keep you occupied. I think that's like a really important thing at the moment.
That's kind of what we're trying to think of at the same time. At the top of the business level, like we're looking at this obviously for the long term, and in a situation where we're going to be planning for this to be the situation for 6 to 12 months, and working out what that looks like from a cultural point of view. You know, culture has been very, very important for us at Go, and like small things we're trying to introduce, like the fitness stuff in the mornings, and we're doing the quiz on Friday. Like, you know, those are the things that are going to be really, really important for us. But we've got to kind of innovate together as we look to do those things, which is going to be quite difficult. What are the things that you think that will help massively of people working from home, especially on the mental health side? I think more relevant for you, Eliza, if you're not seeing anyone. Like, what do you think?
Definitely keeping a structure and like keeping in touch with people within your team. Always having like a structured time where you'd always catch up and keep people in the loop about things. I think as much as you can have like a video conferencing set up as you can, the better, because like you need to talk to people and feel like you're still a part of the community. I think it's so easy to become disconnected and just become silent, and then you go a bit crazy, don't you?
Yeah. And have you found yourself like sat on Hangouts where you've been on the same Hangout with 3 or 4 people for a couple of hours, or is it very much sort of in and out and next one?
I think there's a lot of conversations about people checking in and like generally people caring about how you're doing when they hear about how you're coping. Like everybody wants to share like what's been going on with their lives. And what it's like for them, like relatable stories and whatnot. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people really like coming together and caring about what's going on with each individual's life, other than just it being like small talk.
And thoughts on the lockdown last night? You think it's a good thing? No business, just as the human point of view. Do you think it's the right thing to do or not?
Yeah, I think we need to take it a bit more seriously. I think as like a collective, I think the people we're harming are like our grandparents and our older parents. If we don't take it more seriously, I think it's so easy to think I'm younger, I'm fine, but it's not the people like us that are really a worrying case. It's the people who are older and more vulnerable. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to enforce it a bit further. So yeah.
Mary, is it the same? I mean, obviously London is the epicenter in the UK of not only panic but also action. How is it up in the north of the country? Is it the same? Are like people talking about it in the same way? Because I've talked to a few people. My dad lives in Bath and my mum lives in Bournemouth. Like, it is a very different attitude to it just from those parts of the country. Is it the same up in Leeds?
It seems a little bit more relaxed, but we are sort of where the small villages that people are flocking to at the weekend. I've never seen the malls near my house so busy on a spring day than I did over the weekend. So many people thinking, oh, it's like a bank holiday. So we're sort of the horrible people in the news saying like, no, stick to your big city. Don't come up here and bring your virus with you.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. It's also dangerous. I don't think people, like all the people going to the, like people, like if you get ill, you need to be near a hospital. Even if you're young, right? You still need to be near a hospital. So all these people going to like, you know, the Highlands and the Hebrides, like there's not enough hospitals to deal with all those people. So you might find that's probably the worst place to be. You know, if the Highlands are full and everyone's in their second homes and they're all in these other things, there will not be enough hospital beds. You know, at least in London, you've got the amount of hospitals that you've got. So I don't really get it either. I think it only is again on the assumption, oh, we won't get ill, so it'll be fine. Like, but if you do, you don't want to be isolated in the middle of nowhere. You want to be in as close to a city as possible, I would say. So again, it seems like a weird thing.
Ladies, what's for lunch? Mary, start with you. Have you got into your pasta rations yet?
Not quite yet. I've gone for avocado on toast. I'm not really good. All the food I've bought is like perishables. Anything that wasn't, I've already eaten. It's gone. It's long gone.
Not good, Eliza.
I think mine's gonna be like a rice-based meal. I haven't quite decided yet, but yeah, I'm trying to keep it simple and not have to keep going out and getting stuff. So trying to be very creative with the resources I have. I'm also vegan, so it makes it a bit more tricky as well.
Yeah,
both of them are vegan, so that makes it slightly trickier.
Yeah,
especially with perishables. Okay, well, it's been a pleasure having you two on. We're going to be doing this every single day for the foreseeable, every single work day. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate the time, especially at short notice, and get back to work.
Brilliant. Bye.
See you later. Right, on the topic of lunch, I have someone in the lobby eating his lunch. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I'm trying to work it out before I bring him in. I think it could be cereal, but it's a spoon-based dish. It is a bowl. It's Thomas Freeman. What have you got in there?
Hello, everyone. It's soup. It's cream of chicken soup. I'll be honest, I got swayed by the design. I think it's just the same old soup, but it had one of those fancy designs, you know?
Sort of a premium.
Yeah. I really pushed the boat out with this soup. Yeah. How are you? This is fun, isn't it?
I've basically only bought things that I know I could freeze if I don't fancy them quickly, which I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
How many people do you live with, Tom?
So I live with Liam, who is a cameraman, editor. Yeah. I also live with Sean, but he's currently there. He is. Yeah. I also live with Sean, who's currently in Portugal, so stuck in Portugal. But he works remotely anyway. He actually he bought a ridiculous laptop, didn't he? Like mad souped up laptop, and then just buggered off to Portugal and doing all his work remotely months before it even happened. So he's kind of just getting on with it. And also, we live with Liam's mum, who is she's a lecturer, but she's also an artist. And yeah, she does an amazing job keeping us, I suppose, people in the creative arts housed at a relatively good price, because she believes in giving our artistic people a break. And so yeah, we've got this weird sort of what's the word? It's like an incubator for creative people, which is great. And here she is now. Hi, Lorraine.
Hello, how are you?
So we kind of live in this nice little creative hub.
So how do you manage the, how do you manage the flow of obviously, I imagine they're doing. I was on a hangout with you about an hour ago. You find that there's 3 or 4 going on, or at least there's 3 of you in there now. Do you have to sort of each other exactly like this? This is my point. And so, like, do you time it with each other where, like, one of you will get the kitchen for an hour and then you'll swap round, or like, how does it you actually work through that?
Well, thankfully, we haven't really, come up against any problems like that yet. But in terms of workflow, like, before you guys brought me in and offered me this challenge of doing the daily vlog every day, I was a freelancer, so working from home isn't necessarily a big change for me.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Liam. So we're kind of house cats anyway, so it kind of does suit us. The main thing that's really bothering me at the moment is last night my mum was added to the list of people at risk, severe risk. She's got a lung problem. Sorry
to hear that.
Yeah, it's just getting to the point where it's just real, and we're just trying to insulate her and isolate her, and just
so where is she? Whereabouts in the country is she?
Well, they're out in a small town in Essex, so thankfully they're not in any sort of urban, built up area or anything like that. But it's still a worry. You just never know when that moment is going to be, when Dad's in gloves and he's constantly being sanitized and hosed down by mum the moment he gets home. But we're just doing what we can, man. Obviously, the grandkids have been completely, cut off from her, so that's kind of getting to her at the moment. But
there's a time limit on that, whereas the rest of us are kind of at a let's see how it goes from the government level, but the people at risk.
Oh yeah, she's got no choice. Yeah, she's So echoing Arron's points. Actually, in today's vlog, you guys haven't seen that out there yet, but I'm currently editing some points from Arron Shepherd, where he said it to me the other night, and he was like, "Mate, this is a rant. Let me know." But he's on the fucking money. Like, so am I allowed to swear on this?
Of course you are.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we do the vlog every day.
I usually mark it safe for children, though, if there's no swearing. But it's just one of those times where you just can't understand why people. I mean, I always wonder, is it just, are they not getting the information? But at this point, that seems redundant. That seems like a moot point, to be honest. Everyone has to get it now. But yeah, I'm just echoing Aaron's points that just suck it up, because you're fucking over everyone, and some people, more vulnerable people, even more than you probably even know.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think it's also that there is a risk for all of us as well. And, while it isn't a risk, that's very high, there is a risk. There are going to be people of our age that die from this over the next, however many months. It certainly looks that way. So yeah. I think, that anybody thinking that it won't affect me completely is stupid. It could affect any of us. It will affect a lot of vulnerable people. And, we need to live in a society that's better than what I've seen over the last couple of days. I agree.
It's been a really interesting one. Just anyone that doesn't know what I do, I edit the vlog, but it's been a really interesting one tonally this week, because obviously everyone comes straight out the gate trying to toe the party line, and businesses were figuring out how to tonally talk about their strengths and weaknesses in that moment. So for for an editor this week, it's been insane just trying to figure out the tone of what it should be, because obviously we're a very young, energetic company. However, like we've just said, this affects everyone. So it's kind of a weird shift for me. Not just process. Obviously, we're getting everyone to film their own stuff and send it in. And that's different from Matt running around and getting them to give him stuff. So there's process aside, there's that problem. But just how people are talking. Like, I sent out a message this at the beginning of this week, which was, don't tell us what you think your bosses want to hear, because that's not what this is really about. And hopefully the tone that we've struck with Matt over the last year will go even further to talk about the fact we don't want to play it safe. We want honest opinions from people, because that's why people love the blog. That's, we try and be as honest as we can. So for the people that work at Goat that are watching, that send me stuff every day, give me everything. We're not trying to dull this down or sanitize it. It's we got a real chance to document something that's actually happening, that has all the hallmarks of a movie, but will be in lower resolution because it's a vlog. There you go.
From our phone.
What a lovely way to potentially end this this hour-long live stream. And we've got to go back and do some work at some point today. But I've enjoyed this. It's been fun. It's
been great. I think just from a culture point of view as well, this is incredible. I was just sat eating my lunch, excuse me, and I just offered it up. If you want me to come on, I'll come on. But I wasn't, I didn't put myself forward because I've got anything naturally to talk about. But I thought it was great just to see people dipping in and out through lunchtime. So anyone else in the GOAT team that just wants to, be sat there passively just waiting in case Harry's got a question, Aaron's got a question for a particular team, that'd be awesome. And yeah, for all the people watching, not that many yet, but it'll grow over the next week or so. As many questions you got, throw them at the boys because they're ready.
Yeah, we'll also be bringing on. We're bringing some people outside of GOAT onto this as well over the next few days. Try and get some other perspectives. We'll be talking to some other business leaders. We'll be talking to, anyone and everyone. We'll be getting some NHS workers and really trying to, talking to the disabled community, trying to do everything we can to understand what is going on in this new world that we live in. Everything has changed in the last 3 weeks, and it's changed for all of us. And some of us may be better prepared than others, but none of us are prepared for this. It's completely different. My big hope is that the world pulls together in an unprecedented way, and that whatever new society we build after this is a better one. And I think we can't miss that opportunity. As someone that's got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, I'm not looking at this as the next few months. I'm looking at this as the potential to build a better world. So, maybe we should all focus on that and how we can, build something better than what we had when we came out of it, rather than worrying about what we've lost.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a really, really interesting couple of weeks. I mean, we've just breaking news is that Japan, as a nation, asked for this year's games to be postponed, Olympic Games. So I'm sure there'll be some talking points about that tomorrow as that unravels. But yeah, it looks like Tokyo 2020 will be pushed back to Tokyo 2021 as per all of the other major events.
Good.
That are going on. But yeah, I agree. It seems crazy for 200 different countries and athletes to be flying into one.
It's what the virus wants. It's just
exactly.
Out for it. It's absolutely bellowing out for it. Go on, all get in that petri dish together.
Exactly. Well, yeah, if you have watched today, even if it's a small part of it, thank you very much. For everyone who's commented, thank you very much. It really helps us build the show out. And yeah, obviously, thank you very much to the people who did come on and talk to us. As Arron said, we'll have more people on throughout the week and for as long as we need to do this as we self-isolate. A different show every day looking like this at 12 p.m. UK time for about an hour to kind of guide you through your lunch hour. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, whether or not on YouTube or LinkedIn. We'll see you tonight on the vlog, 6 to 7 p.m. Tom, do you reckon?
I knew you were going to do that.
6 p.m. tonight on the vlog on YouTube and LinkedIn.
If anyone wonders what it looks like when Harry's bleach grows out in about 3 or 4 weeks, there
was a genuine discussion to shave it off now so it looks better in 3 weeks' time.
Shaved.
Sure. Well, I've got very few options.
Sure.
You can still get bleach. I mean, you shouldn't. You should stop doing it. But you can still.
All right. It's fun, lads. I'm gonna jump off now. But if you want to carry on.
Thank you very much to everyone who watched, and yeah, we will see you tomorrow at 12 or the vlog tonight at 6.